everyone, and welcome to our Affinity Insight preview. Today, we're going to be building on the last couple of previews we did over the last couple months and talking about Microsoft Word styles and how we tie that in with automatic paragraph numbering so that your documents are perfectly numbered, no matter what sort of crazy scheme you've got in there, simply by applying styles. I'm Senior Consultant Danielle Davis-Rowe. If you guys have any questions throughout, we've got Karen monitoring the Q&A in the chat. Go ahead and put them in either spot. She'll interrupt me if it's pressing. Otherwise, I'll be checking with her for questions throughout. So please ask questions. I absolutely love it when you guys have those. I want to get started with just a quick poll to see where everyone's at coming in today. And this poll's tricky. It's got 2 questions. So just a heads up there, a little bit different than what we've been doing before. While you guys are answering that poll, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video because I know it's easier for you guys to see the screen share when my video is not taking up part of your screen. And while you guys are answering that, my video's turned off. I'm going to pull up a Word document where I've already built some of the styles exactly like we did in the prior sessions. And then we are going to focus on adding paragraph numbering to them. We've got a few more responses coming into that poll, so fantastic. I absolutely want your feedback there. We'll give you just another couple of seconds there, give everyone a chance. I know sometimes it's a little slow loading for people. All right, fantastic. All right, so for those of you who have never used styles before, if you didn't attend our prior Affinity Insight previews on styles, we had an introductory one and an advanced one, you can watch those recordings from our webpage. Karen will make sure that you have the link to those either in the chat or confirmation email coming out. We'll get you the link to those because this builds on all of that. And it looks like we've got about half the people have used list styles before. Some people have not. Some have no idea. Chances are, if you have no idea, you've not intentionally used them before. But that's what we're going to be focused on today. In fact, I didn't even put together an agenda slide for you guys because that's all we're doing. List styles. So when we're working with styles, 2 things we want to start with. First, we want to show our formatting marks. So on the home ribbon in the paragraph group, we want to click on that paragraph mark button. That shows us where our spaces are, our tabs, and where our paragraphs end. Even if you're not going to use styles, whenever you're working with formatting in Microsoft Word, turn on those formatting marks. Next up, we want to show our styles pane. We're not going to be working extensively in the styles pane today, but I always like to see it. It gives me an idea of what's going on better than the styles gallery. Still on the home ribbon, in the bottom right-hand corner of the styles group is this launcher here, this little tiny arrow. Click on that and it will open up your styles pane. Now, if you didn't attend the prior sessions or you didn't make the same changes that I've recommended in them, and your styles pane is floating and it doesn't show you a preview of each style, I highly recommend docking it on the right and showing a preview. So come on up to the top of the styles pane. Your cursor will change from the regular cursor to this 4-directional arrow. When you get the 4-directional arrow, we're going to double click. So regular cursor, 4-directional arrow, double click. That's going to dock it over to the right, gets it out of the way, brings our text over to the left. Then down at the bottom of these styles pane, we are going to check the box to show preview so we can see what's going on with our styles. You'll see I've already set up the ones we need here. I took notes just like we talked about in our prior session about how I want to set those up, and then I set them up because we've only got half an hour here to get through it all. So I did all of that heavy lifting for you. Again, if you didn't watch those prior sessions, check out the recording of them to see how I got us this far. Now we are going to create a special type of style called a list style. And what it does is it gives us outline numbering so that we can say things like Article 1 and 1.1 and 1.2 and an A in parentheses and have that automatically applied based on the style that is applied to a paragraph. Now, not only did I set up my styles here, I applied them. So here I've got my heading 1 ready to go. My heading 2 is ready to go. My heading 3 is ready to go. The easiest way to create a list style is on the home ribbon in the paragraph group from the multi-level list button. When I click on that, so that's the 1A in the Romanette, there between the 1, 2, 3, and the adjust list indents button, you will see down at the very bottom the ability to define a new list style. You want that one. You do not want to use define a new multi-level list. If you weren't using styles, you were doing direct formatting, more basic formatting, you could use the multi-level list. We want to use the new list style. And now that you guys know how to use styles, there's no going back. We're going to want to use a new list style going forward.
Hey,
So,
Danielle,
yes.
before you go on, I have Mara who's using a Mac, um, and there's no show review or show preview box in the styles pane for her. Is Word for Mac different from what you're showing us today?
Yeah, so I am on a Windows PC, and there are some small differences between Word for Mac and Windows. One of those is the fact that Word for Mac does not does not have the show preview button. So there will be a few differences for those of you who are using a Mac. Overall, 95% of what I'm showing you guys will be the same, but there are a few differences there. There's a few features they don't have in Word for Mac that they do in Word for Windows, unfortunately.
Okay, great. Thanks, Danielle.
All right, so let's click on Define New List Style. And here we are going to do one thing. We are going to name the list style. Just like when we create a new regular style, it's going to default to style 1. Or if your document already had a style 1, it'll default to style 2, so on and so forth. I like to call this numbering dash the name of the document. There is no magic to the name of the style. I simply like to put numbering in the front to remind me when I'm looking at my list of styles that this is a special style. It is a list style. Can't change that style type here. We're only going to be able to create a new list style from here, but that's okay. All I need to do is name it numbering dash operating agreement in this case because I'm doing an operating agreement, but you call it what you want. Then we complete the name, and then we come down here to this format box. Just like when we were modifying or creating a regular style, we have the format button, except a lot of the options are grayed out here. That's okay. The only one I want is numbering. So we're going to go to the multi-level list button, create a new list style, name it, and then go to format numbering. And when you first come in here, it's going to look like this. And just a heads up, you can no longer move this define new list style box once this pops up. So if you've taken notes at the top of your Word document like I have, and you're like, oh, I can no longer see them, it's okay. Because what we can do is we can click OK here. Then we can move this box over to see our notes, go back to format, and go back to numbering. And you'll see it's now out of the way. Depends how many monitors you have, whether you take your notes on paper or on a separate screen, whether or not that's going to be a problem for you. All right. What we have here are 9 levels of possible outline. Here, under click level to modify, 1 through 9. Word can only handle outlines up to 9 levels deep. I've never actually needed more than 9. I've used, I think, all 9 maybe once or twice. Most of the time, I'm in the 3 to 7 range, 3 to 5 mostly. This allows me to set up every level of my outline. In this case, I need 4. I need Article 1's my first level. My 1.1, 1.2, 2.1 is my second level. I have an A in parentheses for my third level and a 1 in parentheses for my fourth level. How do I know that? I made notes on what I need right here. Your documents might use different types of numbering. That's okay. What I want to do is show you how to do these different types so that you can apply it to your own documents. Before I go any farther, I'm missing some key settings. In Microsoft Word, they hide a lot of the really good features behind more tabs and advanced tabs and launchers. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner is this More button. Click on it. Once you click on it, you probably will never need to click on it again. It should stick for you. I can't promise it'll stick indefinitely, but when mine first came up, it came up here. All right, we are going to set up one level at a time. So we're going to be on level 1 to start with. It defaults you there. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to link it to a style over here on the right. If you didn't click on more, you're not going to have this drop down. So come down here, click on more, it'll switch to less. Once it's at less, you're good. And we are going to link this to heading 1. Now I need to tell the number what I want it to look like. And you'll see under this enter formatting for number, my 1 is gray. It's a black number, but it's got a gray box around it. And then it's got a parentheses behind it. Anything that has the gray box around it is going to change from paragraph to paragraph. The first paragraph will be 1. The second one will be 2. The third one will be 3, so on and so forth. I can come in here and delete what's in there. That's fine. If I type a number 1, it will not change from paragraph to paragraph. Every single paragraph would be number 1. So that means for my heading 1, where I want it to say Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, I can just type the word article because that's exactly the same for every single paragraph. So I'm going to type the word article and then a space. And then the way to get in that magic number that moves from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on and so forth is by clicking on this drop down, the number style for this level, and selecting the type of number I want. Here, the top option is exactly what I need, and you'll see it inserts it in gray. Next up, what I need to do is adjust the position down here. When we talked about our paragraph settings and how those affect styles, we set it up a little bit differently. And just a heads up that generally speaking, if I set the paragraph settings for the heading style differently than I set my position in here, generally speaking, what I put in here is going to trump the paragraph style. So this is where it's really critical that we get it right. The aligned at, that is how far from the left margin do I want my number to be. In this case, my heading 1, my article 1 is centered. So I don't want that indented off the left margin at all. My text indent. How much do I want to indent my text from the left margin for any subsequent lines so that if my article 1 takes up more than one line, is there a hanging indent? I do not want to indent that either. I want it to be centered, so no indents there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put article 1 on its own line, followed by the name of the article. So here, this first one here, it's going to be article 1 organization. I'm going to use a line break to separate the two of those. So here, where we can automatically follow the number with a tab character, a space, or nothing, I'm going to select nothing because I'm going to manually insert that line break. All right, before we set up the rest of the levels, I want to show you what this looks like, and then we'll come back in and modify this. So I'm going to click OK, and then OK again. Couple of things to notice. First, in my styles pane, it now says Article 1, Heading 1. That numbering shows up in the styles pane. Second of all, is that this is actually a title style, but I was clicked in there and it simply applied the heading 1 style. Never fear. Really easy to restyle things. Oh, I'm sorry. This should actually be body text first indent. Click here. Click on body text first indent. Fixes that. Here, Article 1 organization should actually be heading 1. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and tap the Enter key to get my line break in there, so that my article 1 is on its own line, followed by organization. Scroll down, get article 2, shift, enter. Article 3, shift, enter. Unfortunately, we can't have it automatically insert a line break after the numbering. I would love it if we had that option. I think this sort of formatting is fairly unique to legal documents, perhaps why Microsoft hasn't done that already. So here, if I was to reformat formation, is article 1, you can see it automatically renumbers. Heading 2 takes it off. All right, now that we've seen how that works with one level, let's go set up the next three levels.
Before you do that, Danielle,
Yes,
do you want to grab a couple questions?
absolutely.
Great. So the first one is from Laura. Do we ever want to be using multi-level lists if we are also using styles in the same document? Or just if you're using styles, do not ever use that multi-level list?
I would never use the multi-level list. The list style saves everything in with your other styles and is less likely to corrupt. Just general rule, if you're using styles, always use the new list style. It will pay off down the road. At first, it doesn't seem like it makes a big difference, but down the road, you'll run into some sort of hiccup with the multi-level list where if you choose the option above, where we'll end up converting it to a list style. I've helped lots of people where they're like, oh, I can't make it do whatever, it's not behaving. And what we do is we convert it to a list style. So it'll save you headaches down the road.
Gotcha. And just one other one before you go on. Can you remind us how you got the styles pane on the right side?
Yeah, absolutely. On the home ribbon, you want to click on the launcher in the styles group. So the arrow down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the styles group on the home ribbon.
Great. Thank you.
Anything else, Karen, before we move on to set up the next levels?
Oh, one just popped in. What setting shows that this and the 19th in the opening paragraph are separated by two spaces instead of one? It might be something we want to talk about at the end.
Yeah, so here how we've got two spaces here. I can see that there's two spaces because I turned on my formatting mark. So the home ribbon, the paragraph mark button in the paragraph group. Should there be two spaces there? No, probably not. That's probably grammatically incorrect to have that there. But so if you're asking how I can see I have two there, that's where those dots came from. Does that answer the question as far as you know, Karen?
I think so.
Okay, fantastic. So now that we need to add in the other heading levels to our outline, to our list style, we are going to go back up to that same multi-level list button on the home ribbon. But now that we've created a list style, it shows up down here. And we can see, hey, Article 1 is heading 1. We can now right click on it and go to modify. And then format numbering. So we can always get back into it really easily under that list style group under the multi-level list. All right, we're going to click on level 2 here to modify to set up the second level of our outline. First things first, I'm going to tie it to heading 2 over here on link level to style heading 2. I'm going to delete what's here under formatting for number. And here I've got an interesting sort of numbering scheme because I actually need the article number from the heading 1 level of this outline, right? Article 1, the first paragraph under it's going to be 1.1, then 1.2. Then when I get down to Article 2, I need that 2 to come down from the article. The way that I do that is this drop down right here, include level number from level 1. Then I'm going to type my period because that's always the same. And then the number style for this level is again the top option. So now it says 1.1. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's no easy way to tell when I'm looking at this and the enter formatting for number that the first one is from the article number and this second one is for this actual paragraph. We'll just have to make sure when we look at the document that it's correct. All right. And this, we need the left. The number is at 0.5 according to my notes, and the text indent is at 1. So the number is going to be half an inch off the left margin, and the text is going to be another full inch off the left margin. So what this is going to do is give us 0.5 between the number and the left margin, and then essentially a hanging indent of 0.5 because 1 minus 0.5 is 0.5. And this is set up differently than the paragraph settings, which makes it confusing. I'm not going to lie to you about that. It is different. I don't know why Microsoft did it that way. I have no explanation for you, but just a heads up, it's a little bit backwards from how we set up our paragraph. Then we're going to follow the number with a tab character so that after the 1.1, I always get a tab. I'm going to show you what this looks like, and then we'll come in and do 3 and 4. So I'm going to click OK, and then OK again. And again, it reformatted this because I was clicked in it. Not a big deal with styles. I'm going to click on the body text first indent and it fixes that. So here we can see that we have our first line indent here is at 0.5 and our text is at 1. That's how that 0.5 and that 1 work there. And if we scroll down, we have got a visual glitch here where we've got an issue where this should, there we go. I clicked on it, it fixed it. So my word's been really wonky this week. So apologies to you guys that we had a visual glitch there. You shouldn't have had that problem if you were doing it on your own, where this temporarily was showing 2.4 till I clicked on it. I have Office 365. I get updates ahead of everyone else so that I can see what's coming down the pipe for you guys, what new features you're going to get. But as a result, sometimes Microsoft rolls out a few bugs that they fix before you get it, but I get some visual glitches sometimes. So here, I've got 1.1, 1.2, so on and so forth. And then Article 2, it automatically restarts at 2.1 here. And same thing with Article 3 there. Any questions about any of that before we set up levels 3 or 4, Karen?
There is a question about your heading 2 that you have as 1.1, 1.2, 1, et cetera. There is someone with a client who actually numbers it 1.01, 1.02. Is there a way to set that up?
Yeah, absolutely. There should be. If we go back to our multi-level list from the home ribbon, we right-click on the list style and we go to modify and we go to format and we go to numbering. When we come down here to level 2, I believe if we scroll down, we've got an option. Yes, right here. So if you select the 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, you could even do 3 digits here or 4 digits. And I click OK and OK again, that gets those zeros in there. So for those of you who need it, you just got to scroll down a little bit. So let me go back into this multi-level list, right click, modify, format, numbering. You do this enough times, you'll be a pro at it. And so it's just farther down in this list where those are at. Any other questions so far, Karen?
I do not think so. We have one that we'll wait till the end to answer, but I think as far as this goes, you're doing great.
Okay,
Oh, wait,
fantastic.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
one more question. How do you show the multi-level list style in the styles pane? When I've tried to do this multi-level list isn't listed as a style. Doesn't this come back to using the new list as opposed to the multi-level list?
Yes. So I've never actually tried to show it in the styles pane. If we want to show it in the styles pane, if we go to our manage styles button down here in the styles pane, and we go to recommend, and I called my numbering to start with. So scroll down here. I know the alphabet. There are so many L's and M's in here due to all sorts of things built in. And I select this, it will not give me the option to show like it does with most styles. See how this is grayed out here? So we don't have the ability to show it over here, unfortunately. So it's probably because we can't actually apply it to a paragraph, because what it does is it ties our other styles to the paragraph numbering. And that's why it shows up over here, because these over here, we can click on a paragraph, we can click on this to apply a style, and it doesn't really make sense to be able to click on the list style to apply it to a paragraph because it's tying numbering to styles is what it's doing. And so it's kind of doing more of the heavy lifting on the back end. And so that's why it shows up here under this multi-level list here. Any other questions before we go on to levels 3 and 4?
Just one, and then we'll move on. The text after the 1.1 is not indented. Is that body text?
Yes, so this is, I applied the body text first indent, just like we set it up in one of our sessions, either last month or the month before. Absolutely, yes. That
Okay.
is, if you look, there is a paragraph mark here. And so this is a different style applied. If this was all part of the same paragraph, it would have different rules applied to it based on that heading style, if that makes sense.
Yes, great. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go into format, we're going to go into numbering, and we're going to set up both 3 and 4 while we are in here, because I know we've only got 5 minutes left, and I'm going to show you guys this. But this is easier than the last one we did. So we're going to click on level 3, link level to style. We are going to get heading 3 here. I'm going to delete what's over here. I always delete it to start with so that I know what I've selected there. All right, open parentheses. We're going to type that. It's the same for every single one. Little a, closing parentheses. All right, this I want indented 1 inch off the left margin for the number and 1.5 for the text. And we're going to follow it with a tab character. Now I'm going to go in and do level 4. And I'll be honest with you, once you get good at this, you're going to come in here and you're going to set up all of your levels at the same time. It's the most efficient way to do it. When I'm teaching you guys, I show you what happens with each level because it's easier to understand it. But normally I come in and set up all levels at the same time like we're doing for 3 and 4 here. All right, click on 4, link it to style heading 4. And hey, look, this one's already set up right. It's got the parentheses around the 1. Perfect. I'm not going to delete that. No reason to redo work that's done for me. 1.5 from the left margin, and then 2. And again, these down here, it depends on your document and your preferences. Some people like hanging indents, some people like to go back to the margin. There's not a right or wrong answer here. We're going to follow it with the tab character. We're going to click OK, and then OK again. Fix that formatting there. And then we're going to scroll down in the document till I have those and make sure it looks right. There we go. An A and a B. We've got a hanging indent there. A, B, C, D there. And I've got my 1, 2, 3 here. So this is looking pretty good. Oh, and here, this just didn't have the right style applied to it. That should probably be heading 4 there. That's why that looks a little funky. Styles make it so easy to fix that sort of stuff. All right, Karen, do we have any more questions?
Instead, yes, we do. Sorry, I'm just reading. Instead of importing or exporting styles, can you import text? That is, erase everything in your template and replace it with the text of the document you want to work on and go from there. I think we covered that in one of the earlier sessions.
And I'm not quite sure that I understand the question. So is the question that we want to delete all of this text and then copy and paste text into it since this has the styles? Is that the question?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so absolutely. You can absolutely take a document that has styles in it. We could select it all. Control is the keyboard shortcut if you're wondering how I did that. Hit the delete key and we could copy and paste text in. I'm not actually going to delete this in case we need this to answer any other questions. But when you go to paste it in, what I would do is first apply the normal style and then right click, and there's this clipboard with an A that copies and pastes text without formatting. And then you can restyle all of it by clicking on the paragraph, clicking on the style. That absolutely could work. And that would be a great way to approach it. It just requires restyling everything. But if you don't have styles in the first one to begin with, definitely copy and paste without formatting because we get a lot of little formatting gremlins in there that come over that cause you headaches. Whenever I'm working with a document that doesn't behave, I start a new document, I style it out, and then I copy and paste without formatting to get it all working just right.
Great. And just one basic question, why is it necessary to link the list to a style?
So if we did not link it to a style, the numbers won't automatically be applied to the style. And so that's the magic here. This is numbered because I applied heading 1. If I apply heading 2, it's going to look like this. Jump back to heading 1. It changes the numbering with it. So if I come in here and I go to modify, format, numbering, and I unlink these, so I delete that and I click OK, and I click OK again. And let's apply normal and then heading 1. You'll see the numbering isn't automatically applied because it's heading 1 because it doesn't tie the numbering to heading 1. So the best way to format your documents is to use styles to control the font and paragraph formatting, and then build a list style that tacks the paragraph numbering onto the styles that you've already set up, if that makes sense.
Great. I do have a couple more questions here. If you have more than one list style for different types of documents, how do you manage them if they're linked to the same named heading styles?
So you can't have heading styles in more than one list style in a document. So what I would do is I would create a separate template for each type of document that has separate formatting. And then you can use those heading styles as you need to in each of those different types of documents. So I'd have, if you have one for pleadings perhaps, and a separate one for memos and a separate one for contracts, have a different template for each of those. And then you can use those heading styles and just have a new list style in each of those. And if they have similar formatting other than the numbering style, what you could do is set up your first one, then save it as a new template, go in and edit your list style and leave all of your headings alone if they otherwise look the same. And then just start from the template you need.
Great. I think that we have covered all the questions about style. I do have one more question after you've finished the end that we can answer. And in fact, Steve, why don't we have Danielle answer you directly with regard to your non-styles related question? So I think that that pretty much takes care of it, Danielle.
All right, fantastic. Well, yeah, we can absolutely work with Steve afterwards. I can email him the answer to his question.
Great.
I do want to let you know what we've got coming up next. On June 10th, we are doing Strategically You, your personal action plan. And then on June 15th, unlocking the potential of the software you already own, focusing on SharePoint Online. So you guys will not want to miss those sessions. Thank you guys so much for attending today and your great questions. If you would like more of this training content and you don't want to wait another month till we do our next preview, check out Affinity Insight Plus. We do sessions like this almost every single week, and you can get a 7-day free trial. Just go to bit.ly/AI plus free trial to check that all out. Thank you guys so much for attending.